I made the mistake that morning in February of taking a look at Facebook to see what was going on. And on Facebook, and this was in 2011, there was something about this thing called the Charter for Compassion. And I couldn't do anything for the rest of the day. The concept of what the charter put out there, at that time Seattle had become the first compassionate city and there were just two others. And as I thought about it, began to look at the idea of what would happen in St. Augustine if it was to become a compassionate city.
And if you think about it, when Pedro Menendez arrived with 800 people 450 years ago, this coming September, he had such a diversity of backgrounds and cultures with him. All of a sudden, tolerance becomes a big deal. How do you get along with each other? How do you respect each other's cultures, religions, your daily ways of doing things? And so you could say St. Augustine has been working to maintain a compassionate interaction for 450 years.
These are stories that are caught in a one-panel image to tell the stories of this particular area. And most of these stories here deal with the topic of compassion, where there was compassion in our history here in St. Augustine.
It's a small city. It's easy to get to know one another. It's easy to be included in things, and we made an effort to do that.
To bring people together, be able to offer something that wasn't here. And so that was the first level of what we were doing, is going around contacting people in other nonprofits, other services that were being provided, and inviting them to be partners with us.
I and my fellow commissioners voted unanimously to move forward as a compassionate city. And in doing so, we engaged also our sister city in Avilés, because when you say Pedro Menendez, our founder's name, you always say Pedro Menendez de Avilés, from Avilés, Spain. So when we connected Avilés, Spain and St. Augustine, we became the first international sister city compassionate cities.
The tapestry, the cultural threads of First America, first of all, celebrates the multicultural founding of America. It happened here in 1565. They exchanged ideas, foods, dance, rituals, words, languages, everything you could imagine. It was the very genesis of the American culture that we know today, that characterizes not only St. Augustine's culturally diverse community, but also characterizes us as a nation.
When you make your lexicon a positive lexicon, then you become a positive person. So when you talk about compassion and its relevance and what it means and what we do in our daily life that illustrate a commitment to being compassionate, then you become compassionate.
For me personally, it's a matter of I'm a hugger by definition, so it's bringing a more personal listening to everything. We have public comments. We now actually have something close to a dialogue. The Commission has sometimes very lively dialogues, but it's much more recognizing that the fabric of a city is its people, and if you listen and if you respond, if you can listen clearly and respond, that to me, I think, is my definition of how we are if we are compassionate.
We all liked the idea in the 450th anniversary of St. Augustine that a public art project here could be centered around history, culture, multicultural opportunities, and the principles of compassion.
I think one of the things we've tried to really be clear about is that the art project is a project primarily that deals with relational values. Freedom, democracy, human rights, compassion.
What would make a great canvas? And I thought about the obelisk in the square.
And so this is a reproduction of the obelisk that is down in the plaza here. It is a reproduction of the oldest monument in Florida, made to the Constitution, but not to the U.S. Constitution, but to the Spanish Constitution of 1812. And the pillars of the Spanish Constitution of 1812 were freedom, democracy, human rights, and compassion.
So we put out a call to artists and invited those interested to respond. And so the artists that are involved, they want to be involved. They are very interested in communicating those 4 values on behalf of Compassion at St. Augustine for the city of St. Augustine. Art is a fantastic thing, and it does give you a lens into the time of when it was created.
You know, I very much believe in the arts and how they empower and enable expression, and felt that compassion was even on a deeper, more basic level that every single person could relate to.
We got into this and we started thinking, well, how can we involve children? And out of that came the idea that we could make half-size obelisks and put them into the school system and have a curriculum around compassion and art in the school system going on at the same time when the adult version is in play.
So it really made a lot of sense to do that. And when we talked to the teachers, went out and I sent the ideas out to the teachers and sent them a picture of the blank obelisk and basically an outline of what it was about. They said, sure, let's try that. Sounds like a great project.
What we hope that this project does is provide students the long-term memories and the long-term instruction on how to not only be compassionate, but also how to be an engaged member of their community, to realize that each community has a history and each of these students plays a role in that history from a very early age all the way through adulthood.
Well, I was really lucky to be in Seattle on April 2010 when Karen Armstrong visited and declared Seattle the first city to sign her Charter of Compassion. Human history is one of conflict but also peacetime. And as American Muslims after 9/11 particularly, we felt more than ever that discussion, education, compassion need to rule the day, not war, not conflict. I mean, that doesn't win anybody anything.
Every community that has a soup kitchen or a food bank or a way of helping people with their rent and electrical bills has a compassionate component to it. But to take that and elevate it and make it an overarching consideration that becomes part of your decision-making process, I think it's just a good way to go. And you do it in a way that you're not taking a religious position or you're not taking a political position, you're taking a human position that everyone should be able to stand behind 100%. And if you don't, then I'll pray for you.
There's something calling me. There's a yearning. There's a desire to be more involved in making this a better place, a place where people can agree to disagree, where people talk about things with civility, and where people want to come together for the greater good.